Yo, 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 what's up, everyone? Welcome to the first ones to die. Why you laughing? Why you laughing, Jerome?
It's just like Jonathan is like hosting Yo MTV Raps or something.
I used to love those shows. I miss old MTV. That had some good energy.
TLC. I mean, sorry, not TLC, TRL.
I used to run home from school every day to see that. I was so sad when they retired it.
Yeah, my friends used to run home to watch 106 in Park.
I feel old now. Let's continue.
Keep moving.
That was so quick.
Well, on that note, how you doing, Alex?
I feel old now. I'm not bad. A little tired. It was a busy week at work, so. But other than that, it's actually not been too bad. Been working more, drawing a little more, which is nice, and just bothering Cheddar more. So that's all my life is going on right now. How are you, Jerome? How you doing?
Oh,
As you yawn.
Tired.
As you go straight to yawning.
I'm sleepy. I've been traveling, been busy. I just saw my mom out there in Charlotte. So that was fun. Got to see also my sister as well. So it's been a good time.
Settling into the new place.
Yeah. As you can see, that's my ceiling. I still haven't gotten the apartment quite to where I want it to, but I have started like putting in some furniture, getting some stuff set up. I still need to get a couch, but other than that, everything else though, coming in nicely. So it's getting together. Eventually, I will hopefully get it to a spot where I could do like, more first ones to die, like live interviews or something. I don't know. Like I'm planning on turning this into like my apartment half like recording studio where I can just like put like little soundproof stuff up and then we can like record.
So you gotta put the soundproof
or the egg cartons.
If you don't, or if you don't get the soundproof stuff, you can use egg cartons.
I don't know if I'm gonna be that old school.
Yeah, they're resourceful. It's resourceful. How you doing, Jonathan? How's your week been?
Good. Busy again. I'm also tired, so I can relate on that. But we're gonna bring the energy for the fans today.
I was gonna be. It's a little funny how tired we all are, but we're talking. The episode's about crazy fans, or the intensity of some fans get with movies or shows or even collectibles. Because the new SpiderMan movie. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say, Jonathan, I know what your thumbnail should be when you put out the Instagram thing. It's just like something akin to what the videos look like for Black Friday when people bursting down the door.
That's not a bad idea. Because fandoms get crazy. I do have the definition pulled up for us to set the tone and to all be on the same page about what fandom actually means.
That's
yes.
But so Alex, I'm sorry, I did cut you off. What were you saying about?
Oh no, I was gonna say it's a little funny that because we're all tired that we're talking about the crazy fans, and it all has to do with the new release of Spider-Man, No Way Home. Mm-hmm. Just mentioning that, like, read us that definition, so we're on the same page.
Yes, we're going to be on the same page. According to Oxford Languages, the definition of fandom is the state or condition of being a fan of someone or something, or the fans of a particular person, team, fictional series, etc., regarded collectively as a community or subculture, aka the Breaking Bad fandom.
It's like, would Disney be considered a fandom, or are the individual things in Disney a fandom? Like,
I mean, it depends on the person. There are some people who are fans of Disney anything, so they're fans of Disney. And then there's some people who are specific Disney fans. Like, I like the princess movies, but I don't care for anything else. I like all the Disney Channel stuff, but I don't like anything else. Like, so there's like, fandom is a weird thing.
And that's the subculture.
Yeah, there can be subcultures within the culture that like are different, and they would consider themselves different. Because if you called them a Disney fan, they would be like, no, I just like the princess movies. That's different. And it's like, okay, but those are all Disney movies, so you're a Disney fan.
And it's the community that is the fandom towards the particular product or show or movie or whatever, there's the subculture. If we're speaking in terms of subculture and we're using the example of Disney, there's the adult Disney fans. I know they've gained traction within the recent years.
Those people terrify me.
And it's not just I'm an adult and I'm a fan of Disney, but
But
there are people who are, yes. Go ahead.
I'm like, yeah, but you don't deck your whole kitchen out and like, because I've seen like the Waffle Makers that make it into a Disney face, like Star Wars coffee makers and stuff like that with the label on it. I'm like, you just went ahead and did that to your whole kitchen.
I mean, I used to have a friend in high school. His family went to Disneyland twice a year, every year for like at least a double digit set of years. Like it was more than 10. I know that. So there are some hardcore Disney fans out there.
To be fair, my family and we would go to Disneyland every year for about like, I want to say like 7 or 8 years, but that was because my mom had the hookup. She worked for Alaska Airlines. She worked in the corporate. So she had, and they're like their partner. So she had the hookup. We got the tickets and we got the Disneyland tickets. Yeah,
but you were also a kid. So that's like magical and wonderful. And you're seeing all these characters from movies. You weren't, and I get the idea of the fandom escaping the reality, having a break and stuff. But like when it comes to like really childish things like Disney, I always get a little creeped out when they have like, oh, look at my wall of like Mickey ears that I have collected over the years. It's like, cool. That's
I mean, everyone's got their thing. I think for me, what's annoying about fandom is when it gets to the point of being like of reverting you to a child, more or less. Because I think about like me and Kaylee were having a conversation about a long time ago about the Rick and Morty fandom, because I was like, I like Rick and Morty, but it's hard for me to say that given the fandom, because I don't like Rick and Morty fans, like hardcore Rick and Morty fans. And the reason I say that is because there was, if you've never seen Rick and Morty, there was an episode where Rick and Morty, Rick is in some type of like mental landscape thing, and he goes to a McDonald's and talks about Szechuan sauce, which was a promotion they did for Mulan, which Szechuan sauce is a real sauce that you can just buy in the store. But back when Mulan, the cartoon movie, was coming out for the first time, McDonald's was selling Szechuan sauce as a new nugget dipping just for a limited time for a promotion. And it was, according to Rick and Morty, it was super delicious. And so he said that in the show, and it's just a throwaway reference. Well, McDonald's, seeing how popular Rick and Morty was like, guess what? The Szechuan sauce is back in honor of Rick and Morty. And they didn't, to McDonald's credit, they didn't think about how big and how wide the Rick and Morty fandom was. So they ran out pretty quickly. And you would think an adult would be like, well, I missed my chance to get the Szechuan sauce. Damn. Guess I gotta wait for them to do it again. No, they raided McDonald's and was like screaming out stuff from the show and like standing on counters. Some people, I think, did escalate to them like fighting like employees, like an over what? A nugget dipping sauce? That not only is a nugget dipping sauce, it's a dipping sauce you could just already existed in the store, right?
Yeah, I remember that, and I remember seeing a news report because they're like they interviewed an employee, and they were like, "Yeah, our store got shipped maybe about 150. That's what we were assuming." And then when we walked into work, there's just this line across the block. They're like, "We had to give one per person," and they were not happy about that. I'm like, oh God, I'm like that. Yeah, that is too much. I don't think I've ever waited in line for something. That is a lie. I actually do recall something. So unfortunately, I was, as a teenager, I am admitting this, I was part of the Twilight fandom. However, I did not act in like the way they did, where they're crazy, and I was not a team Edward, team Jacob. But I was one, and I actually went to the midnight release of, I think it was the third book. I can't remember what it is anymore. It was at Barnes and Nobles, and my sister came with me, and she was just like, "You have your book. Can we go home now?" I'm like, "Yes." So I have waited in line to get the third book of the Twilight series, unfortunately. So I will
See,
admit
but
to that.
that's not too bad because it's like I remember when we had Star Wars because it's like I remember when we had Star Wars at the Pacific Science Center Theater, like episode 7 technically, but Force Awakens, whichever one you want to call it. And I remember when I came to work that day, the night shift, and we had 4 lines set up. There was for those who don't know, who are listening, we had like a lobby, but then we had an upper lobby, and then we had the other 2 lines outside like the main gate. And the other 2 lines were to like were in case people lined up, right? So I'm coming in late, like I'm coming in for the late shift. The first showing was what, like 5 or 4?
Actually, I think it
Yeah.
started. I think it was actually it started at 5 because we were doing the, what was it, 90 hours straight thing?
Yeah, 72 hours.
72 hours straight.
Yeah, so it was like 5 o'clock. Then the next one was at 7. The next one after that was at 10, and the next one after that was at I think like 2 a.m. There were already people lined up for the 2 a.m. Granted, it was 4 people, but still 4 people already were lined up for the 2 a.m. show because they wanted to be first in line. And while in my
And
mind,
I think back then it was raining outside, so if you had to wait
it
outside
was
in the line,
it was cold.
you were
It
waiting
was
in the rain.
They had umbrellas and like lawn chairs. Like they were ready for the long haul. And I remember just being like, I don't think I love anything that much to be like essentially 8 hours ahead to wait for it.
And the thing is, if you showed up 4-5 hours later, you'd still get a good seat, like a prime seating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with the way our theater was set up, it was very nice. There wasn't
There
really
was
Yes.
that
there was
scene.
one person literally we opened up the theater for Star Wars and they sprinted haul ass into the theater like they weren't already the first in line.
I remember at the end of those announcements, I before we let them out of the theater, they did their little clap. I'm like, all right, everybody exit up front. I'm like, no talking about the movie. You wouldn't want it spoiled for you. I'm like, if you cannot keep your mouth shut, put your hands over your mouth or something. I'm like, as you exit the theater, if you just can't, I'm like, put your hands over your mouth. All right. Nobody wants to hear the spoilers. So like, I think maybe Kaylin said I couldn't tell people to do that, but he didn't stop me. I think maybe I was,
but see, that's a thing where it's like that's a personal thing. So for me personally, I'm like, it doesn't hurt anybody. If anything, it just hurt yourself because you just killing time. But you know, that's whatever. As compared to you attacking people over a show or over a movie or even a book, like there's nothing you should like enough. That's just entertainment. It'd be one thing if it's something serious, like, you know, that person hurt your family or something like that. But if it's I like this TV show and you don't like that TV show, so now you got to throw them hands. Like, what?
Is there?
How's that make sense in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
Some of my experience with fandoms are not necessarily for movies or TV shows, although I've experienced that. But I regularly see it online with celebrities, and especially when you have a celebrity who has a maybe distinct personality or a brand that has a distinct personality, and you have fans of that person or brand. That person or brand sets the tone for how the fandom acts. So for example, like you have All Def or Kev on Stage, and they're comedians, you know, it's a comedic channel. So if you scroll through their comments on Instagram, you're gonna be laughing just as much as you did watching whatever video you watched of theirs. Versus like if you have someone who's maybe like racist or known for being controversial, their fans are likely going to emulate that person. So whatever,
or be the opposite, and then like spur on other people of that to like comment back at them sometimes too.
Then
It's
they
rare,
wouldn't end up being a
but-
fan. It just ends up being.
Oh yeah, but the
Right,
internet's
but-
weird. You have some people that'll hate you and still watch their content every time it comes out, and it's like, if you don't like the
Then
content,
it's
why do you
then
keep
it's not
watching
really hate
anyway?
that they're still a fan still. Then there's
See,
fine line
but
between love and
but
hate.
it's weird because it's,
It's
like
not-
I've seen some YouTube people where I'm like, okay, every time I see this person comment below this video or whatever, because they get highly rated or whatever by other people, and it's like their comment gets highly rated, and it's like, okay, if you don't like, it's like, because it'll always start with, this is why I can't stand so and so. It's like, okay, if you can't stand this person, why do you keep watching the videos then? This is YouTube. You can easily just stop watching their content, unsubscribe, and you never have to see their face ever again. More than likely.
Jonathan, when you said brands, it made me think of Wendy's.
Yes,
Their Twitter account.
Yes,
That is true.
Their
Wendy's
clapback
fandom is
like
dope.
yeah, their clapback is like legendary. They'll have hey, like so many people just comment roast me, and they get so excited to get roasted by Wendy's. And I would never think in my lifetime would I see somebody so excited to get roasted by a fast food chain. Well, great, whoever's running that account, like they figured out.
I think it's a
Or, like,
committee. Because I don't think one person is that creative. I think it's like a group of people
they
that
run
run
Probably.
that
and
Twitter.
now whoever comes on board now, they train them to say things like this.
yeah,
Mhm.
Like
They're probably
like
but then on TikTok now there's the lingual bird.
oh yeah, the
bird.
Duolingo bird. Yes.
Duolingo, thank you. I follow that account. I watch those videos. I'm not even gonna die. I'm not gonna go die for this bird, but I love it, and
I'm
it's
gonna go
so
die for this bird.
it is so funny to see the people in there. You know, you're right, commenting those things, being like, I didn't do my Spanish language, I didn't do this, and I didn't do that. Oh, Duolingo released my family, which is a comment I see a lot in there, hoping to get just a comment back. And it's that constant, like, I'm sure there are people commenting something every single day just to get something from a fake bird on a language learning app that's not even rated the best.
He's
in
real
the-
to
in
me,
the-
damn it.
but it's not even the best rated language app in the store either, in the app store. So it's like what is going on with these people? I do watch. I love them. The little videos are cute. Good.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
just gonna say, and those communities like Duolingo and Wendy's, they've created the space kind of. So they've set a precedent. Like, this is a fun atmosphere. We're roasting, but nothing serious, and we're just gonna have fun here. Whereas if, like, I don't know, St. Jude's Children's Hospital just all of a sudden just started roasting people on Instagram
Wow.
or Twitter.
That would be so funny if it's like, if St. Jude, you know what? No, St. Jude could do it. You know what they need to do? They need to, like, because it's the only social media platform that ain't popping. This might set it off. They need to start roasting people on Venmo. They need to go on to Venmo and see what people are spending their money on and be like, oh, I see you got $18 to give so-and-so for that Wendy's burger, but you ain't got a quarter to help these chilling out, huh? Mm-hmm.
That's actually not a
We
bad
see you.
idea.
That's not a bad idea.
That's actually a pretty good idea. Yeah.
St. Jude's, if you do that, hit me up. I will gladly join your marketing team to do that.
Yeah, no, it's actually like people even do it with like brands, and you don't think about it until you're like talking about this. Like, yeah, there's so many things like follow. But again, like I wouldn't like I think it would be funny to get a comment back from like the bird language app, but I'm not gonna comment every single day in hopes of it. And it's also not just like fandom also extends into products and items, as I was showing you guys earlier because I was taking a look around. There's the Squishmallows that are really popular right now. And I'm not gonna lie, I have some. Sensory reasons, they're so soft. And this is actually a lovely one my sister-in-law got me. I have seen people wait in line going into stores to get certain ones. I've seen people hiding them. This one was hidden behind a bunch of stuffed animals at Home Goods. I was playing with all the stuffed animals there, and
So you took someone's hiding spot.
Absolutely
They
took
was
it out of
saving it.
spite.
You
I
better hope
took
they
it
don't
out of
watch this video
spite.
because they're gonna come find you.
Let them know. You hid it in the back of the Home Goods in Bellevue. I went and I got him. I
They
bought
had
it.
the store
Oogie
name
Boogie.
too.
I'm saying, yeah, I bought it for that exact out of spite.
Is that Oogie Boogie from?
It is Oogie Boogie. These were really going insane. People were going like for the Oogie, especially Oogie Boogie. That's why he was hiding. And like, I saw this online. I paid $12 for this guy. I found online he's $150 selling now.
Mm-hmm.
And just like with the most recent Spider-Man movie, No Way Home, people have been selling tickets, like getting these like $30 tickets, selling them for like 100, or I think I found one that said they sold a ticket for about $25,000.
I'm about to say there's one for 25,000.
Yeah, like I can't imagine. Like these are great. I love them. Again, they're cute, and it's like sensory because it's soft. But I wouldn't spend $25,000. I wouldn't even spend like $20 on these. These are always less than $20.
Well, think how you would feel if you spent $25,000, right, to get that Spider-Man ticket. And then you sit down in the theater, you done got your popcorn, you feel so satisfied. It's like, yes, I got in. And then the person next to you, like you just to brag a little bit, you're like, I spent $25,000 on this ticket, so I hope this movie's good. And that person looks at you like, 25,000. I spent 30 because they bought it early. You know what I mean? How would you feel?
And they're like, and the person who spent 25,000 is like, dang, I got a deal. You spent $30,000 on this ticket? It's like, no, I spent $30.
But think about it, for the person who spent like $25,000 on it. All they had to do was like buy it and pay for it. The person who probably got it for 30 had to probably wait in line, or virtual line, real line, or anything, and like had to lose time instead of money. But the other guy saved time but lost money. And like, it's so funny when it's the same way.
I'd wait in line for 8 hours for $25,000.
I would gladly wait in line as opposed to spend $25,000. If those are the two options, like I'm just gonna wait. That's all right.
Well, I'm saying, I have found apparently a rare Squishmallow completely by accident. I have one. I didn't know this. I found them and I was like, this is soft, and I got it.
Don't be surprised if people comment on this video and they're like, I will gladly buy it for $109,000.
I mean, it's this big guy Christmas one. I was like, he's cute. And then I found him again online, more expensive, in the hundreds when I found him. And I'm like, I just sit here petting him. Like, what are you all doing with them? What are you
probably collecting them? Remember that time we went to the Funko store in LA and then that dude was like, had like, what, like a whole buggy full of them or baskets full of them? Like, people, like, there's some people who just collect this stuff and then put it in like a room in their house where they just store it.
That's the thing. I think something that's helped the concept of fandom heighten is Funko. I think they've like established their place in the fandom world, because literally not any, but most of the fandoms are represented within the Funko website.
Well, I think,
and it's a lot of people will
go. The toy market has always been that way. The toy market's always, because when Star Wars started making toys for the first time, that was when you really started seeing a lot of the collectors come out the woodwork who are collecting Star Wars toys from the 80s till now, like all of them. Doesn't matter what it is.
Well, now this is like a distinguished brand with a distinct look. Everyone looks the same, but modeled after whatever characters are modeled after.
They're set up to be collectibles. They knew what they were doing,
especially because they have numbers. All of them are numbered. Yeah. All of them come from a certain set. Like, and
people will even be like, when are you going to come out with a Funko of this? I wish there was a Funko of this TV show or this. Like, and I like them. They're cute, and I get some, but like I've never again gone like, oh, I need to get this one that's like $300. And yeah, I remember I think it was in front of or behind us. That guy had like 2 baskets full, and then his son was there carrying a bag full. Oh, I did learn really quick, jumping back to Disney. So they're also resellers who just buy a ton of this stuff and then buy it and then resell it for more expensive. Yeah, apparently. Scalpers. Yeah, well, scalpers are more anyway.
Scalping is more tickets, but I always say
I always end up saying reseller. But there was like a bunch back in September, I'm going to say. No, springtime. In Disney World, a bunch of them went and like basically tried to buy these like Disney tumblers that were like going to be rare and never going to come out. And they caused like a big fight, and a huge chunk of those resellers got banned from Disney World, completely banned. And somebody had posted a video. They're like, don't you feel stupid? They're back on the market, by the way. The little special editions, and the shelf was full. It was pretty and full. And she's like, yeah, for everybody who got banned from Disney World because you fought that person for a tumbler, and that was like almost your livelihood, they're back on the shelf. Nobody's gonna buy it for $500 now. They're right there. And it's just like amazing that they're able to exist because people are willing to buy the $500 tumbler that was like $10 originally.
People ain't got money. You just got money to burn.
They do that with Starbucks tumblers too. And I always think it's just crazy.
Here's the thing, and I because going back to the Spider-Man thing a bit, I found out about that through the John Campea show that I watch from time to time. Shout out to John Campea. And one of the things they talked about this, and an argument they brought up that I was like, I don't know if that holds water, but maybe, I don't know, maybe I might be tripping. Is they were talking about the $25,000 thing. Then they brought up the idea that, yes, it is ridiculous to spend that much on any movie ticket, let alone one for a Marvel movie. But at the same time, there is something to be said about the theater experience in regards to theater fandom, especially when you go see movies that are popular, like
the class
Spider-Man
called the theater experience in college. Anyway, sorry, continue.
There's Nicole Kidman would teach that class.
Yeah. Yeah, go check out Nicole Kidman's AMC commercial if you haven't already seen it.
For anyone listening, we had an extensive conversation about this topic and commercial before the podcast.
But there is something to be said about the theater experience of like going to see especially a really popular movie for the first time. There's some people who can talk about their first time seeing Black Panther, their first time seeing The Avengers when it first came out, or the first time seeing a Star Wars movie, or whatever movie is important to you. And so they were like, how much are you willing to pay to get that experience again? If you could, and for some people, it might be $25,000 is worth it. My counter to that is, but they haven't seen the movie yet. So they don't know if they're going to get that experience. How would you feel if you spent $25,000 and the movie was trash to you? You know what I mean? But that's me. What do you guys think about that? Do you think you would pay an absorbent amount of money for, let's say, your best theater experience, whatever that was, whatever movie that was?
If I was paying $25,000 for a movie, it better be a private screening. I get to invite 50 of my friends and family, popcorn, drinks, everything included, private butler service, gourmet meal alongside. I get to go to laser tag afterwards.
Why laser tag? That's a physical activity.
I want to do laser tag
food and lounge
because you need to wake up your muscles,
right?
And, burn off that butter. This movie theater butter, it's not healthy. It's something that's probably already in your arteries. Gotta work it out.
Right. It's not going to be the normal theater experience.
That's
I would
down
never
payment on a house. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I just thought about that. That's a solid down payment on a house.
That's a solid true. Very
that's a
nice
car payment. That's paying for a car, just straight up.
That's like multiple cars in
my
some
car was 6,000. Yeah, that's like almost 3 times my car. It is 4 times 4 of my cars.
For one movie that you could have seen for $30.
If you had just waited the next day.
Yes. Or you could just wait like 2 years and wait till it comes on ABC.
Well, so let me ask you this: would you put a price on your favorite? Because I don't know. Like for me, for example, my favorite movie experience that I would say that was in theaters, going to go watch a movie in theaters, and it was amazing. Was probably that I can remember in my lifetime, probably going to go see the Avengers for the first time. That was the most excited I've ever been to see a movie, and it did not disappoint. It was really awesome to be in that theater. It was really cool to be around so many people. It was a fun time. Actually, I'll take that back. Probably Avengers Infinity War, because the first Avengers I was annoyed because people were laughing so hard I missed half the jokes. But Infinity War, I watched it in a prime theater. It was loud enough that I could hear the movie over people, but I was still having a good time with other people watching that movie. It was a really fun experience. Would I pay $25,000 for that experience? No, but I would say it is an experience that I'm glad, and a memory I'm glad I have. And if I had to put a price on it, it'd probably be a couple $100. Like I wouldn't pay that for a normal movie theater, but if I had to like put a number to it, it would be worth more than $30 for sure.
How about this question? Would you pay $10,000 to have your favorite fandom continue on forever for the rest of your life? If you did not pay that $10,000, the fandom the thing that the fandom is based off of would end right now and never exist for the rest of eternity.
See, but that doesn't, I don't know, because that's hard to equate because like
really quick. No, I do have an answer to that.
Yeah,
no,
ahead,
I would not.
You go ahead.
I would not. You know why? Because Supernatural did that. All right, it kept going.
Oh, it kept.
Somebody paid that 10,000, and it kept going and going and going. All those characters kept dying and coming back, dying and coming. Oh,
Grey's
look,
Anatomy.
it's another one. Yeah, no, I would not. Only because I have seen it, and so, like, there's a point where you have a natural ending with a show or a movie or what feels like this is a good conclusion, even if it's like a really sad one, even if it's like broken. Because there was, I think it was season 6 or 7, and that's honestly where I started to fall off. One of them goes to purgatory. One brother goes to purgatory, and the other one finally gets to go like live a normal life. It's the opposite version, of course. And like the angel Castiel, you know, has higher power. That would have been such a nice ending. Yeah, one's kind of trapped in a cage with the devil, but it has this like ending in its final story. But of course, they picked it up. All of a sudden, there's, you know, now more to what's going on, war in heaven, the war on earth, like all this extra stuff that they just have to keep coming up with new plots. And when you try to revert back to the original plot where it was two brothers hunting, everybody's like, well, you know what's out there, you know, the werewolf isn't the dangerous thing, leave it alone, you know, it's not hurting anybody now. So I would not, only because I have seen it done, and sometimes you just gotta let the show die.
What if it ended on a cliffhanger and you pay that $10,000 a little bit too early? The show ended on a cliffhanger.
You didn't say what time. You didn't say what time.
I said right now. I said it would end right now. So
well, in her case, Supernatural's over.
Yeah, it has ended. Somebody finally stopped paying the 10,000. I can't think of a show I would care so much about nowadays, because I've fallen off so many shows myself.
For me, it's not that, because I'm not like beholden. Like there are things I like, you know, shows, video games, movies, but there's no show or a video game I like enough to say I'm like a super fan. Like, you know, ultimately in the fandom of maybe comic books, but even then, that's general. I like a lot of comic books from different places, but I don't like even my favorite characters. I like dip in, dip out, because like I haven't been reading Doctor Strange for a while now, even though he's my favorite Marvel character. Right now I'm reading Daredevil, and then come next year I might be reading somebody else. So it kind of like I kind of just uproot and go. That's why I say it's like it's a hard question for me, because there's nothing that I'm like such a fan of that I can't live without. Or that I would care enough about the fandom to be like, to feel about it either way, of either it'll keep going or either it won't, because in my mind, it depends on who's writing it, who's producing it, who's making the content.
Yeah.
You know.
What about you?
It's a good question. It's just hard for me to answer.
Is there
right
a
now.
show or movie or any franchise or fandom you would like pay to keep alive?
To keep alive?
Or what about you, Jonathan? Is there something like?
I would probably say, and you know me with my reality competition.
Yeah, I was waiting for. I was like, which one?
If I could keep all of them alive, I would.
If you had to pick one.
Okay, right now I'm in my survivor mode, and
like,
survivor is the more.
Let me put it.
Wait,
I want to word the question differently for you. If like all your reality shows were basically up against the wall, and you got to decide which one continued on, but the others would fall off, which one would you choose?
Okay, it would probably have to be Survivor. One, because They air 2 seasons a year. 2, it's the more consistent show out of the shows that I watch, out of the reality shows that I watch. And the ones that I'm thinking off the top of my head, Big Brother, Survivor, Amazing Race, the CBS triple threat or whatever they call it. Amazing Race, they air, so it's been on the verge of cancellation multiple times. Thankfully, another season is airing soon. So I've already been through that. And with COVID, they had to cancel one of the seasons and then they brought the contestants back. So anyway, so I've been there with Amazing Race already. So I'm fine letting it go. Big Brother, they've had so many controversies in the past. Their seasons have not been consistent, even though that's probably the show that I'm more passionate about because, you know, they make the show in a way that you're invested in it. And sometimes I get a little bit too obsessed with the show. So I'd have to let that go for my sanity as well, even though I love the show. Survivor, I can watch it and be on with my day the next day. So with that being said, Survivor, I would have to say.
I won't lie, I'm a little surprised. I would have thought you chose like Big Brother because you have extensively explained things to me about Big Brother, especially when we used to work nights. I feel like I would learn more about Big Brother from you than actually watching the show. So I'm a little surprised you would choose. Yeah,
Probably.
I'm older than both of you.
I think mine would probably be it's 2 answers. One would be and it's mostly because the original creators wanted to do more, and I think that's my caveat, because I've seen there's a lot of shows I like and movies I like that then they're like, all right, we're bringing it back, and I'm like, cool, and they're like, but with none of the original creators. I'm like, never mind, because it's not going to be nearly as good. The Boondocks comes to mind in that scenario, but no, it'd be either Infinity Train, which is a great cartoon. If you haven't watched it, it's on HBO Max. It's really good, and very short. It doesn't take very long to watch it, but it is awesome. And movies wise, it'd be a sequel to The Nice Guys. Maybe just one more sequel, because I think I forget his name. Shane Black, I think is his name, who's the writer for that. He only wrote he wanted to do a sequel, but it just didn't make the money necessary to like justify making a sequel. But it was a really funny movie. Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe have great chemistry on screen. So I was hoping they're going to make another Nice Guys movie. But it just wasn't in the cards. But that's okay. But I still like the Nice Guys.
There's a show. I don't know if I would pay 10,000, but if there was like a petition and the people were willing to like listen, or like there is a show, and it's going to sound a little ridiculous, that I would love one more season of. If they brought it back, even without the original creators or writers or something, I would love to have the show come back for just one single season. My Name is Earl.
Why was I about to
would agree with that?
Why was I about to say? I was about to say Chuck, and
I never watched
similar
Chuck.
vein.
Yeah, I think they were all this.
Right.
I mean, they were right after each other too. But
Yeah.
the way they ended, and you were just so ready for that next year, and they're like, "Yeah, we canceled it," and it was just like, that's so rude. I'm still upset. Everybody's so upset because you had one more season feel. I don't know if I would pay, but maybe I'd donate if somebody was racking up money.
That's so random.
I love you said $10,000, but then I was like, I just thought about it. I'm like, they're gonna need more than $10,000 to keep any of these shows or movies going. I mean, we can make another season.
Look, just your
make another
investment.
movie.
It's just your. I mean, yeah.
This is your investment to start the campaign for the GoFundMe and all of that.
The earthquake. The whole desk is moving.
The fandom that I've been immersed in lately, working at a particular studio that this fandom is based off of, but Friends. Friends.
I don't understand why that's coming back in popularity. It's so annoying.
Because at any time, this is what I've been told, at any time of the day, somewhere in the world, Friends is airing.
But it's
Anywhere.
not even, like, okay, I remember watching it. Oh God, I feel old again. In the 90s and the early 2000s, and like growing up with it, and we were like excited for the next episode. So like I was there when it was like the original, but as older and watching it now, it wasn't a good show. They were actually all terrible friends to each other. They were actually horrible friends. How they treated each other, I would not treat you guys. And like,
I mean, everyone said that at this point. There's like articles about this.
yeah,
about
they're like,
how
I
they're
would,
all bad
yeah,
friends.
because I watched like a couple episodes. I'm like, this is kind of, they're all like, you always thought like, oh, this one's kind of worse than this one and this one. I'm like, no, they're all awful to each other and awful people in general. And I was actually out shopping with Lauren for a little bit. We were hanging out. I missed her, and I was just looking at stuff. I'm like, why are there friends things everywhere? Like, oh, I saw a cute little purple couch. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cute. And then it just had friends. I was like, oh, I don't
Never
want
mind.
that. Yeah, and like everything was just marked friends, like everywhere. And I'm like,
It's a popular show.
but I don't
People
understand.
like it. I mean, I don't either,
like,
but that's not for me to understand because I never will. I'm not a suburban white girl. Like I don't like.
First off,
like, so
I told you I used to like it
for
back in
me.
when it was the original, but that's what I'm saying. I don't understand why certain fandoms are coming back. Why are you back? You shouldn't be
because
back.
nostalgia
of the reunions.
sells, and the reunions too, but mostly the nostalgia sells. Like there's
Oh,
no new sitcom
and streaming
too, because it's like there's no new sitcoms that are coming out that like the last new sitcom that's really like popped off since then the same way as something like a Friends or something like a Seinfeld or even Fresh Prince is probably like, you know, actual network sitcom at that probably is Big Bang Theory. And even then that show is wrapped.
Another Warner Brothers show.
Like, so it's like when you think about like how many sitcoms there are that come out that actually become popular, like, yeah, a lot of people are probably jonesing for Friends because they're like, what else do I have to watch? I didn't like How I Met Your Mother that much. I didn't like Big Bang. Like Big Bang Theory is a sitcom that is.
Yeah, but there's also, it has to be within a set of sitcoms. It wasn't like just Friends that had the popularity. It was like in a set, like TGIF.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, TGIF, which was like Sabrina the Teenage Witch,
Full
Boy
House,
Meets World, Full House, and like I think it was other show. They were right after each other, and that became like a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was part of it. That's what became popular. There's no group of shows. There's no time space where you sit down and you're like, let's watch these next 2 hours together. And like it wasn't just Friends. I forget what other show was like with it, but there's like another, probably like, I never really watched an episode of Seinfeld. And same with like, for a while there's Animation Domination. There was the Cleveland Show, Family Guy, American Dad, and The Simpsons, which The Simpsons is a fandom I am technically in. I'm very obsessed. I watch that show all the time.
I know. Anytime I go to your place.
Yeah, really quick. Actually, that's a pointed painting Lauren actually gave me. I don't think you can see it with the Christmas lights. It's of The Simpsons.
Oh, nice.
So it's a big.
Yeah, I can't see it, but
yeah.
I know. Anytime I go to your place, The Simpsons is playing in the background.
I'm just saying it's a cultural thing because, like, for example, there's a reason why if you ask any Black person who like most of their sitcoms that they watch regularly on their TV is what? Fresh Prince, maybe Good Times, The Jeffersons, like Martin.
I used to love Martin.
Whole New World. Even some of the Disney ones, Sister, That's So Raven. Like, you know what I mean? Every culture's got their things that they enjoy. Friends just happens to be the one. I mean, we live in Seattle. It's a predominantly white state, not even city, state. So it's like you're going to see a lot of Friends things. Yeah, I meant to say Washington. Well, but no, you know what I mean?
No, I get what you mean. Like, I mean, it was the same thing with like Seinfeld. Their series finale was one of the highest rated series finale. And I was like, I didn't even know that show existed until maybe about 5 years after it was off air. And it was literally a show apparently about nothing, which that's what it looked like.
It kind of was.
And I get the like cultural reference, but like in today's culture, how is Friends still considered such a good show? with like everything we know now. Like Ross is just fucking
because
terrible.
nostalgia glasses,
like,
makes us makes us see things as we always remember them, but not as they always were. Like there are some people who love the bad movies they watched as children. Why? They know it's bad, but to them it's still one of their best shows or best movies ever.
That's fair. Like I do that with the Hitchhiker's.
Good memories.
I do that with the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I love that movie. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's bad editing put together too. But like, I don't know. With fandoms, it's always very interesting to see what part also the fandoms become obsessed with. Like when it came to Star Wars and The Force Awakens, everybody loved BB-8. That's
but that was pointed because they knew all they had to do was make a cute little robot and everyone was going to fall in love with them.
I liked them. But that's what I'm saying. They like led a horse to that for a while. Or ships for shows. Ships is a shortened term for relationships. People in shows either put pairings together or don't. When the pairings are together in the show, it's called a canon. What ships are popular outside the show to what is actually in the show to canon is also very interesting to see, because people will run away with those type of relationships. Like going back to Supernatural, there was Destiel, Castiel, and Dean, which honestly there was a lot of like romance there, more than bromance. And so people had that so much outside the fandom, then it was like everybody in the show was like, no. Our actors, writers were like, no. And you just got to think about that, although that was a little queer baiting, but you got to think about that, the things people will just suddenly like take and run with in the fandom, and what becomes important in that fandom that people won't let go. Like with the Superman No Way Home, people were like, yes, Tobey Maguire. Spider-Man, what'd I say?
You said Superman. I was like, Superman.
Spider-Man No Way Home. People became obsessed.
I was just gonna let you run with it.
Thank you, Jonathan. See, he's nice. He doesn't point out my flaws.
Listen, I know you're already in the doghouse for arcade. All right, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help you to keep on track.
Why? Let the arcade come for me. What? I have like, what are they gonna do?
Actually, nothing. Yeah, they're just gonna comment, and that's pretty much it.
Go for it.
That's the extent.
Hey. Arcade fans, no racial comments. That one's not cool. Whatever else you want to say, no racial comments. Spider-Man No Way Home, people were obsessed with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield being in the show or movie, so much so they refuse to listen to the actual creators being like, Andrew Garfield's not going to be in there. They're like, he is. No, listen to me slowly.
Yeah, Andrew Garfield himself said that. And they're like, still were like, he's in it.
No, he's gonna be in it. Yeah, so like the belief system too of like.
Okay, also let me preface this by saying we know at the time of this recording, so probably by the time this comes out, none of us have seen the movie. So don't comment below correcting us. I'm gonna go look up if it is the case. To be like, actually, they are in the movie, and it was at this point in the film, and it's like, don't tell us, okay? We haven't seen the movie yet. We'll get around to it. All right, chill out.
This is a spoiler-free zone, unless we're talking about.
Unless we're doing the review.
Yes, unless we're doing a review, or in a case where we're talking about a movie that's 30 years old, and we just talk about the movie.
Oh. I found out the truth.
Wait, no. You better not say nothing. You better not say nothing. Anyway,
I know the truth.
There's also fandoms. What other fandoms are there?
My issue with fandoms also is starting to like, and this is the biggest thing. My issues with fandom in general, and why I don't try and prescribe myself to any fandom specifically, is also because, and this is mostly because of the internet age, fandoms have started to become a little bit entitled with things, okay? Because I'm thinking about, for example, Game of Thrones, right? Game of Thrones season 8 comes out. Was it the best season of television? No. Was it the best Game of Thrones season? Hell no. But comparatively to some of the worst shows on TV at that time, it was aight. But That didn't stop all these Game of Thrones fans signing petitions asking for them to refilm this whole season. Like, because they didn't like the ending. I understand the frustration, and you have the right to be frustrated. But what makes you think you have the right to demand that a show spend more money
in all fairness,
to film a season just because you didn't like it? If you didn't like it, you didn't like it. But that's not your say. You just consume the content. You don't make it. You don't know the struggle that it takes to make it. You don't know the scheduling problems. You don't know all that stuff.
In all fairness, people got to bully Sonic into changing the whole film too.
Okay,
That's
but that was
true.
they were able to
And
do it.
And I think that was around the same time.
And I
as
have
Game of Thrones.
literally signed a petition to keep the James Corden away from.
See, these are for
Wicked.
things that haven't happened yet. All right.
No, Sonic happened, but
well, I know. I'm saying like Sonic, that petition
And
was signed before the movie came out, at least. So at least they had time to finish it and fix it.
And they made a second one. Has the second one come out?
It's coming out next year.
Just the trailer.
Okay, next year. Okay.
But it's just, in my mind, it's just a thing of like it's no different. They did the same thing with Star Wars, where people were like trying to get petitions signed to make episodes 7, 8, and 9 not canon, not part of the Star Wars story. And it's like, I get it if you don't like the movie. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but don't ruin it for other people who might have enjoyed those movies. And you know what I mean? Just because you didn't like it personally. It'd be one thing if it was like, you know, someone who made the movie is trying to be like, I don't want that to be tied to me, or I don't want that tied to, you know what, or the studio is saying, oh, this isn't canon. But you're just Joe Blow nobody who just watches Star Wars movies, no different than I watch Star Wars movies, Jonathan watched Star Wars movies, and Alex might watch a Star Wars movie.
I saw parts of Force Awakens. I did like that toy.
So it's just, you know, it's like, that's who you are. You don't have just because you're a fan of something doesn't give you the right to ruin something for somebody else if it's not what you want. It's also being childish.
Yeah, no, and it also leads to a lot of gatekeeping too, is a term where people are like, well, you can't really like the show if you don't know all this like background history or terms or things like that. And I actually, I work in a doctor's office, and one of the I was talking to a couple other people about going to Comic-Con. I went for like a day, and I'm like, oh yeah, Comic-Con's really great, a lot of positive energy. Nobody like tells you can't be a fan of something there ever, and it's just a good like connection. Like, hey, your costume's really cool. I don't know where it's from, but like that's badass. And they're usually like, yeah, this is badass. So it's really great. One of them brought a doctor who's like, oh, you're not that type of, or they said something, are you that kind of nerd who goes to Comic-Con? And he's like, oh, no, I'm not that type of nerd at all. And I'm like, first off, I am standing right here. And I just looked at the doctor. I'm like, I am that type of nerd. Don't be rude. And then I forgot that I'm actually talking to like one of our surgeons, and I'm like, I should probably change my tone. Really quick to defending myself. But yeah, it leads to a lot of like gatekeeping and like people being like, oh, you can't be in this fandom because you don't know this. Oh, you haven't watched this, which is like a series spinoff. Well, you don't know this, so you can't be part of this. And it's really interesting with that entitlement as well, to like hold that so much that you're like, well, I don't want anybody else to love it. It's a very possessive nature thing, and it's crazy. Like that you want to like keep people away from it, because like, what do they think people are going to do with the fandom? You can't physically touch it, so what do you how
there's a difference between what we're doing. We watch movies, we sometimes critique them, we talk about what we liked and what we didn't like, and then actively trying to dismantle something because you did not like it. What the purpose of entertainment is that purpose, to entertain. What you watch on screen on whatever thing you're a fan of is not going to have it's going to have an impact on you, but it's not going, if you don't like something the way that something's going, it's not going to impact your life that significantly that you need to take your anger out in all these sorts of ways that have sometimes, we've seen examples of, have been very destructive, like bullying, harassment, racism, that sort of stuff. It's not necessary. We don't need to be those kinds of people. On the flip side, not saying this is necessarily related, but I'm watching Insecure right now, and it's the final season. There are 2 episodes left, and a lot of people online have been saying, oh, this doesn't feel like a final season. This season is boring, blah, blah, blah. Nothing's happening. And if you've been watching the show for the past 4 years, it's a show that emulates real life. In real life, you're not going to be experiencing like super exciting things on a daily basis. It's a comedy show following the lives of people, Black people living within LA. So I don't know why people expect the final season to be this. They got to have a money heist. They got to have people jumping off buildings. I don't know why people expect it to be this massively exciting when it follows the same tone that the show has been following for the past 4 years. And it's been delivering in my eye, and it's been tying up bows, and it's been funny. So I disagree with those people who say that
the word finale probably is what it is.
It triggers people.
Finale, yeah, it's supposed to be like this epic thing. Like it's the final season. Like it's not just going to be like a regular season. Like things are going to be explosive.
Amped up, right.
Yeah, amped up. And it's like, well, it depends on the show. Maybe not. Maybe this show is like, it's always been low key. So the finale is going to be low key. Like that's just how it goes.
Right.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think I've like been obsessed with any show or been obsessed with any show to be like, I'm gonna watch the finale tonight. I made sure everything was like quiet, all the phones were locked. I did kind of do that with the Doctor Who 50th anniversary episode, but I didn't like turn off my phone. My mom and my stepdad were still in the room hanging out with me. I was just watching the show. That was like the only thing I was focused on for once. And yeah, I agree with you guys where it's like, I guess the word final is just something people are like, well, something big needs to happen, something jumping off of roofs, being chased by the police. I don't know what that show is. So
I mean, I'm excited because the last time I got excited for a final season, actually the last and first time I ever got excited for a final season of anything was Game of Thrones. And I think that's only because I had binged, like up until that point, all 7 seasons were out except 8 when I started watching Game of Thrones. So I just binged the whole thing over like a week and watched every episode back to back to back. And then when the final season came out, it was just like, man, I just caught up. So I'm like fresh on Game of Thrones. I'm ready. Other than that, I think it was also True Blood, I think too. But I had already started like checking in and out from True Blood because after season 3 it gets weird. Like it just keeps getting weird as the show continues, and you just hit a point where you're just like it's weird when like fairies start becoming a thing, and it's like, all right, I thought this was going to be a show about vampires. Now we got fairies now.
Vampires and werewolves.
Vampires and okay, the werewolves though, it's like normally wherever vampires are, werewolves are there because eternally it's always vampires versus werewolves. They always hate each other,
which is not like a very I don't mean to, it's not a very opposite things. They're both creatures of like nighttime, moonlit. I never understood that entirely. What's the deal with vampires and werewolves?
I think it's just because they look cool, like fighting against each other, I guess.
I think it's just good CGI.
But I mean, if you go by True
Blood,
why
are they connected?
Yeah, it's just good CGI.
Because like True Blood's werewolves are just straight wolves. Like they're not like the norm. When you think werewolf, you think like half man, half werewolf beast type, versus in True Blood though, it's like when they turn into wolves, they turn into actual wolves. And the vampires just stay vampires. Like that's
so then it just looks like people harming animals.
Yeah, they don't even fight. They just like have beef for no reason. And then they're just like, but they don't even really fight each other. It's more just like, I don't like you. I don't like you either. Okay, bye. See you next week. All right, cool. It's just like, and that's it. And then eventually and we're here too. Fairies.
Yeah, the fairy thing is weird. I feel like fairies and vampires and
fairies were weird. There's one point where werepanthers are a thing.
Well, see, now I've heard about like the other were animals, like were cats.
yeah, the Werepanthers was weird, and then it just gets weird. It gets weird, and True Blood just starts going down a rabbit hole once you get closer to the final season. But not to get too far off topic, but anyway, so it's like, but there is something about the final whatever that it does like hit people, and they're just like, all right, something epic's gonna go down now, and it's like, but depending on the show, how epic was the show before that? Because if it wasn't
Right.
because it's no different than I think about Euphoria, for example. Like Euphoria, very stylistic. But if there was ever going to be, I imagine the final season of Euphoria, whenever they get to it, won't be like super dramatic. I mean, it'll have its dramatic points, but I think it'll be pretty much like a normal slice of life show, no different than it is now, where it'll just be, cool.
Because then on the flip side, if they pull out all the tricks and do all of this stuff, then people are just going to complain about that and say, this is too extra. This is unbelievable. This is not realistic to the story. So you really cannot win in either scenario.
Then again, though, fandom is also weird because, for example, like Dexter, right, has a new season out. And that show ended I think 4 years ago. But it's like, who was asking for more Dexter? And also, Showtime has new shows coming out. Why don't you just keep making those? Why do you have to bring back Dexter?
It's the same with like Curb Your Enthusiasm and Sex and the City, and
nobody was asking for Sex.
Nobody was asking for more.
Not
Sex
a single person.
Not even one of the actresses came back for more Sex.
And it was one of the best characters. She was one of the. Okay, I watched Sex and the City from front to back. Sam's character, Samantha, was the single best character. She was
the funny one.
She was funny. She was supportive. Like if you were strapped for something, she would help you out with money. She offered. She's like, don't think about it. Money's not a thing. She was like a real friend. She had your back. Know what? She was like, she got a face peel in one episode, and she went out for Carrie's book signing. She had to wear a veil. Her face was still red and she's like, I have to go home now. But she had done that because it was important to her friend. And the new show now just has the woke topics. They're trying to put every thing in there in these, I don't know, 8 episodes. I haven't watched anyone. And Carrie is one of the worst ones. Nobody wanted a show focus. The show went from her to more of her friends. And now they try movies. Movies, and now again, still Samantha was the best in those movies. I watched them all, I admit it. And then they bring the show back without the best character, and it's all I've seen are just these awful scenes, and it's I really hope they're not going to try for a second season. I really hope they're going to just hear everybody's complaints and be like, let it die. But I will say, with Dexter as well, I'm still angry. There is an rage with that show, and the way it ended was so insulting. They should not. I'm more pissed that they brought it back, because it's no, you went and shot it in the back of the head. Now you brought it back to do what? I'm worried what you're gonna do to it now. Don't. It's it's already dead. Don't touch it. Do not touch it. Stop it.
I mean, it's new Dexter. I mean, at least they could do, and even I don't agree with this either, but at least it's something fresh. Is HBO is doing a spin-off Game of Thrones show that's going to take place before the show about the Targaryens. Am I gonna watch it? I don't know. They've released the first trailer, but it doesn't look that interesting to me.
It's Matt Smith in there, and I really like him, so I probably will watch.
He's gonna play one of the Targaryens, and I'm like, all right, I guess. But I mean, even at least that's in a way, that's a new show. Same world, different characters. And so far removed from the first batch that it's you're not going to see any, you might see the Lannisters, but you're not going to see Tywin and Cersei.
Yeah, you can't bring back the characters.
Which is that's cool.
I think so. As we're getting close to the end here, I think I need to bring up the one show that pissed off its fandom, pissed off people who are just normal fans, and I think just pissed off everybody with the way they ended things. It was an upset to everybody, and that was Sopranos' final episode.
Oh yeah, the way it just ends.
The black screen.
Mhm.
I'm not even a fan of The
'Cause-
Sopranos, and it
What wasn't it? He was in a restaurant and he was like about to get shot by a gunman or something, but it just the camera goes to the gunman and then to him, and then it's just a black screen.
he was actually talking. It cuts off mid-sentence.
Mhm.
So he was saying something mid-sentence, black screen. That was the end of the series.
That
And I
was
don't-
very infamous. Like, even if you did not, I did not watch Sopranos, but that was all over everywhere.
Because it
at
was
the
like
time.
I never watched
parodied,
The Sopranos either.
You ever see the finale for Everybody Hates Chris? It ends the exact same way. That's their season finale. Is that
Oh,
it's
I
Chris,
didn't.
I
Chris
didn't know that either.
and his
Didn't know that.
family, like, and that season finale, the last episode, Chris has decided he's going to drop out of, or he's not going to go to college, or no, he's going to drop out of high school. That's what it is. He's going to drop out of high school. His brother and his sister have decided like things with their lives. The whole family meets in a diner similar to The Sopranos. Living on a Prayer is playing in the background. I think they are about to say something, and then it just cuts to black. And that was supposed to be a parody of The Sopranos finale.
Believe it.
I've
I
seen it
believe
like
the
a
show would do
but
it.
yeah, that was like across the board pissed off its fandom, pissed off its fans, pissed off like just people in general. And I always think,
Do you think they
That's
got the
kinda- isn't
fans
it funny?
back with Many Saints of Newark that came out this year?
if it's good, probably, because even as like just in general fan, I think somebody would give it a chance. I mean, because people are giving the new Sex in the City a chance. They're hating it. They're absolutely hating it. But they're like, let me watch it, and then they're like, oh my god, it's awful. It's awful. Here are all the ways it's awful. It's just bad. And like I do that. Like I'm technically part of the Resident Evil fandom. Because I say dedicated to those movies.
Wait, hold on.
Those
The
are horrible.
I'm about to say the movies or the games. 'Cause that's
I'm
two
dedicated to
different
the
things.
Resident Evil movie.
Okay.
I'm part of their
Got
fandom.
you.
And even I will tell you, do not watch the last few ones. Not worth it. Why did I watch them? Because I'm dedicated to them. Are
Mhm.
they good in any sense of the word? Should they have been made? Absolutely not. If there's another one coming out, am I going to watch it? Probably. But like,
Yeah, fandom's a
Uh,
weird. It's a weird bag of things. Like I think the best thing to say about fandom, I think from my perspective, really, it's just to remember that like if you are a fan of anything, whether that be a show or a video game or a movie series, whatever it is, like remember that like other people also enjoy that thing. So, share the experience with them, be a part of the community, like that sort of thing. But don't try and actively ruin it for other people, whether they be new, because you know how everybody's had that experience where it's like, you haven't seen this thing I like? Oh, you gotta watch that. Like, everyone's had that experience. But it's like, be like either kind of the newbies who are just getting into the thing you enjoy, or the OGs who know even more than you do. Like it's a show. At the end of the day, if that show goes off, maybe you won't have entertainment to watch, but you won't die. Like you're not going to drop dead that day if the new Sex in the City cuts off. Like
I don't think anybody
Enjoy
would
your
sad if it
things.
just stops now.
And as we wrap up, I'm gonna go around and ask everyone to say which fandom they think should shut the F up. No, I'm just kidding. Fandoms are great, can be great. They can also be not so great. But shout out to all the fandoms out there that save their favorite shows. They vocalize, "Hey, we want this show on the air," and fandoms that do good out there, raise money for charity, and just do good things overall.
I don't know many. That's mostly the internet fandom. That's the newest thing. Is like you have a lot
Yeah.
of vloggers and people who are like internet famous who will do that. They'll get their fans to like help them raise money for charity or help them watch, like point them to a video that all the proceeds are going to go to a certain charity or something. So, but that is
Shout out
cool,
to
though.
them.
That is a good thing. That's a good thing.
All right. Okay. Social media time.
I think we should just cut off like this.
Yeah, because we like if we get an internet fandom, that's a whole other hour worth of conversation. So let's just end here. We might do a fandom part 2 if this video does well. Tell us down below if you're watching this on YouTube, or just email us and hit us up at thefirstones2die@gmail.com or on Instagram, all social medias at thefirstones2die. What's your what fandom do you say you're a part of, whether that be for a TV show, movie franchise, maybe it could be for an item. I don't care. Maybe you're a huge toaster fan of a certain brand. I don't care. Just tell us who you're a part of, and then share with us. We'd love to hear it.
Black & Decker. I'm actually a really big fan of theirs. Their products are good. I got a Black & Decker
They do
toaster.
make good products.
They got very good sturdy products. I appreciate them.
Author us hashtag. Anyway, with that being said, wait, do we want to shout out our socials or not?
Yeah.
No, we do.
Okay.
I just wanted to give the audience their chance to comment.
So all the social media for the podcast is The First Ones to Die, just Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, which I control that one mainly, and just email us at firstonestodie@gmail.com. My social is Alex and Nobody on Instagram, and I also have another TikTok account as Alex and Cheddar, where that little guy, a lot of videos with me and him. You guys?
Yes, you can follow me at Jonathan Keys. Okay.
Sorry, I was like, go ahead.
No, at Jonathan Keys on Twitter, Instagram, wherever you please. Jerome, where can we find you?
You can find me at not Jerome Rat on Instagram, so at RoboZoo Media, to see other things I'm working on. Hopefully, if I get this whole sound studio thing going, I actually will have stuff to post. So, yes. I've been taking a break from RoboZoo Media for a bit. So, but we'll be back on it soon.
And we will also be back next week for the new Matrix movie coming out on HBO Max and I believe in theaters. First time in a minute that we've actually been like, we're doing this at the next week instead of just, we'll be back for something.
We'll be back. I will say, I'm part of the Keanu Reeves fandom.
Is just to be like, we're here for something.
Right.
I'm part of the Keanu Reeves fandom.
Everybody's part of the Keanu Reeves train right now.
I've been on that for a while. He's a beautiful man for one thing.
The man's firing on all cylinders. He's been in TV shows. He's popping in the movies world, even in the comics. He has a comic book out right now that I'm reading called Berserker. Pick it up in your local comic book store.
Wait, does he write it?
Mm-hmm.
What?
And he stars in it.
All right, we gotta end that episode. I gotta go buy it.
It's dressed like him.
All right, bye everybody. I gotta go buy.
Bye.
Bye.